All right, what's up, everybody? Hope you guys are doing good, man. Thanks for checking out my channel again. For those who already know who I am, man, this is a movement of vital energy. It's been a long time, guys. But yeah, if you don't know who I am, I'm just a dude out here talking about, some questionable topics that people might label as conspiracy theories. I have a lot of personal experience with this stuff, guys. I've been learning a lot in my off time, the break that I took, doing lots of research, a lot of experimentation. It's the same old story with me being one of those people who are affected by this. And I've come to a conclusion. This isn't what I want to talk about, but it's going to start this way, I guess. But what I've come to a conclusion of is that most people are actually truly asleep on this type of stuff, guys. And this is when when you're asleep on information, knowledge. That's when the dark energies, the resistance, the ones who are anti-life, the powers that be, the cabal, all these labels, it's just basically anti-life beings on this planet and extraterrestrial, that can play, they can work their agendas a lot easier when they keep everybody asleep on topics like this. The extremely low frequencies, the V2K, the voice to skull, hearing thoughts in your mind. There's a lot of stuff that's coming on mainstream media where it's like people hearing demons. You know what I mean? And this is what they want, and it's infiltrating the church, which is that's not good news. When I say infiltrating the church, is the deception that's been going on in the past, at least 100 years. And it's really been picking up its pace hard in the past, 40, 50 years, since the 60s, I believe. That's kind of when I have seen, based on research, things really picking up, and, the CIA doing a lot of experimentation with mind control and using technology, just all that stuff, guys, mingled into one. It's like, that's how they can get you, is when you stay unaware and stay asleep. And the people who are really trying to wake other people up, like me, I'm trying to wake other people up to this information on a very gentle, graceful level, to where you can do your own research yourself and become aware of there's a lot of stuff going on where it's fake. Like, people say, oh, this guy had mental health issues or something like that, and they'll always pin that to that, so they can stay in the shadows and do what they're really doing, using their instruments of really warfare, when it comes to this technological harassment. There is a spiritual there is a spiritual aspect to it as well. So it's both worlds that is, anti-life, because there's people in this living world, human beings who have, bowed the knee to the devil, to the enemy, to the ones who hate. These are the extraterrestrials, to the ones who hate humanity. You know what I mean? And the most sought after targets by these beings are definitely, the Christian church, the authentic church. And there is an agenda that is played to where they can, they want to get their hands on anybody they can to use as a puppet to further their agenda. So you hear stuff like, these gun shootings and all this other crazy stuff, and the rabbit hole gets so deep where, I couldn't possibly explain it all in one video. But so that's where I've been on my break, just doing a lot of research and experimentation with a lot of things, and learning how to defend myself in this, and actually, kind of going on the offense as well. Because, you got to attack it from a spiritual. You got to see it from a spiritual lens and attack it that way. And you have to see it from a physical lens and attack it that way as well. And we're not called to be ignorant in this, guys, because those who are ignorant with lack of knowledge are the ones who are most easily affected. When this first started happening to me like 10, 15 years ago, in all reality, it started even when I was a little child. But I interpreted it differently as a child, but as I grew in the years, I became more knowledgeable in all this stuff and how things really work. And it's pretty crazy. But so there's that, guys. But I want to talk about semen retention and sexual energy. And what I want you guys to I want you guys to understand that sexual energy is not your enemy, it's your friend. It's you, it's a part of you. You really, like, the physical aspect, the physical part of you came from the seed. Your seed, the seed, is basically a process of transmutation, of transforming from a seed into a human being, and this is by the power and creation from God. Okay, and there's there's laws and principles and actions that just simply take place. You do this with this, that happens. Your parents had relations in bed, and then boom, there came you, right? Man and woman had no part in this to play, other than the action, other than the sexual union. And this is where, when we retain our seed, there's another certain action that takes place where you don't have to get all complicated with it. You know what I'm saying? There's an internal action that takes place as you retain your seed. And this, excuse me, I've been having something in my throat all day long, but this is where you don't need to worry about anything when you're on semen retention, and you'll get your mind. You'll get the external environment kind of coming against you in different ways. You'll get an internal environment, like sometimes your mind might perceive like your mind is playing tricks on you. And this is where I want you guys to understand is that, it's just that the only thing that we need to look at as the enemy in when it comes to the whole realm of semen retention and fapping is literally the lack of discipline, and mistraining. We're wrongfully training our body. So, when the body comes back at us like a spoiled child, it thinks it can get what it wants when it wants. So when you stop giving that spoiled child, candy and ice cream and cakes every day, it throws a tantrum, right? It gets pissed off at you. It gets pissed off at you as symbolically, you're the dad, and the semen is like your child type of thing, right? This is symbolically speaking. You guys need to wrap your heads around this, right? So when you keep your seed in, there's a mechanism that you've trained yourself, like a part of your mind that you've really integrated within yourself, that you've always like gave in so easily. You know what I'm saying? Like there's some sort of action. You see a girl, you get horny or something, or it's just some biological thing, or you just can't resist, right? You just have lack of self-control, lack of discipline. Well, that slowly integrates into your mind, will, and emotions over time. Now, porn, that expedites this mind, will, and emotions that is contrary to the mind, will, and emotions that God creates for us to have, and it expedites this just rapidly, very, very, very rapidly. And it's you'll find if you're addicted to porn and stuff like that, you'll find your mind being really, really messed up, and your emotions all messed up, and just lack of will, you know what I mean? Following the will of your desires and lusts. And it doesn't stop with porn. It goes to really bad things in life, So that is like what you did, right? Like nobody forced your hand, or nobody forced you to do anything. It was your choice. But when we start coming against this we can retrain and rediscipline that spoiled child to become a obedient child type of thing, right? So it's not that there's two parts of you. It's like you're one, but there's one that is unnatural that you could wrongfully strengthen. You know what I mean? Like it's just a symbolism of a spoiled child is how I want you guys to look at it. So you can definitely retrain that spoiled child to be a good, obedient child, and to do what you say, because it's your will that you're exercising. Like when the kids are living under the parents' roof, the parents have the authority. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But when the kids leave, they unite with another, depending on their sex, they unite with a man or a woman, and the parents no longer have authority over you because they have become the authority. Type of speaking. So and then they have kids, and then they become the authority over their child. That's just how it normally works. But God is over all, So those who choose to stay single, like me, I stay single by choice. And, God is over me, and he's sovereign over. And, here's the thing is, like, I've learned about semen retention through the word of God, present your body as a living sacrifice, and about disciplining your body. Paul talks about that in the Bible, about disciplining your body. And having self-control, and this goes into other areas of your life, but the most realized is semen retention. You'll realize where your self-control is really at on semen retention, and so this is that's the enemy, is like the lack of self-control. The lack of self-control. It can almost become like a poison in your life when you have zero self-control, and you just let that desire, that lust, and you're like, where does that come from? Is that really me? It's like, the truth is, it really kind of is. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, how there's that classic example in the Bible of the flesh versus the spirit. Be guided by the spirit rather than be guided by the flesh, because the flesh, we're all born in this world of like fleshly tendencies and fleshly desires. It's just natural. This is why a lot of doctors will tell you everything's natural. It's natural to masturbate 21 times a month, or I think there's that study. You'll find a plethora of agreements with, if you want to find an excuse to say masturbation is okay, you can look up on Google and there will be pages upon pages of everybody saying masturbation is perfectly natural and normal, but they are coming from the natural mind of the fallen nature of the flesh. This is why when you're guided by the spirit, you have a different type of conscience. You have a different, you're guided by a different will. You're guided by the will of God. Now, we as man, we don't perfectly follow the will of God 100%, but only Jesus did that. But this is why we trust in Jesus. This is going to a spiritual aspect of salvation. This is why we trust, because the only way you can truly get to heaven is to perfectly obey, perfectly do the will of God forever, from beginning to continuation forever. There's no beginning to end, because when you do the will of God from the beginning, I guess, if you want to look at it like that, it's like, you know what I'm saying, you never die. But this is why we trust in Jesus, so we have eternal life now, you know what I'm saying, because we trust in the one who perfectly obeys, for his own sake, but yet because of his love, right, his love for us. So what am I trying to say here, man? It's just like, sexual energy is not your enemy. A lot of people look at that wrongfully when they're on semen retention. They might even look at their penis as some sort of bad thing, or they might look at like something like that, you know what I mean? And then they start to learn, then they wrongfully learn to hate themselves or their penis or whatever it is, you know what I mean? And this is what causes a psychological problem in men when they're on semen retention, which causes a lot of stress and tension, so it's like, you need to learn to understand that sexual energy is actually a tool, and it's a realization of vitality. Like if you're horny all the time, most young men realize this, right? They're always at the peak of their vitality, like 18 years old. They're out there chasing tail, man, like 24/7. That's all they think about, But that means they're at the peak of their vitality. Now, here's another thing about the world's mindset with this, is they say your testosterone always decreases as you get older. Well, the reason why is because men keep ejaculating. They keep decreasing by their own will, by their own choices, their vitality. So the truth is, guys, is like, the longer you retain, the more you keep your vitality, the more it can build, and not only maintain, but actually like replenish. Like, you look at it as a reservoir. This is why I always harp on the 90-day semen retention, because it's like a pressurized system. So you have to have at least like one full cycle built up, and it takes around 74 days, 64 to 74 to 84. It's all different for every male, but I average it out to around 90 days. So that it's like your lower energy system down there takes 90 days before it can pressurize and build up and actually start moving around, movement of vital energy. That's why I called that for my channel name. So you can get like some benefits that are seen in 90 days or less, for sure, man. Like, testosterone has been widespread and proven that it's 7 days. But you get out of your refractory period, the average refractory period after ejaculation, whether through sex or masturbation or whatever, it's all unique and different, but you get about 1,500 seed every second created on average, and you do the math, you do the multiplication on that, and you figure out how much it takes in one release, how many seed get released in one release. You look up these studies. This is a blessing of YouTube and Google. And I average it out to about 9 days. So it takes about 9 days to get out of the average refractory period for me. Now, some people look at a refractory period of like, when can you possibly biologically have sex again? It's like, man, dude, you guys don't get the understanding of vitality. I'm talking about vitality, not when you can just sit there and masturbate all freaking day, every day, as soon as you're able. Like, no, that's going to lead you to living like a monkey, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm telling you, man, it's all about vitality. So you can keep that and actually increase it the longer you retain. You know what I'm saying? So it's really a game of patience, guys. I just want to harp on the main thing on this video is, besides the first 5 minutes, that was about something else. But the main thing on this video is, it's not your enemy. Sexual, the energy that you feel sometimes even is not your it's not your enemy. When you abuse that system, when you abuse it and you release it, you're decreasing your vitality. You're decreasing the opportunity and chance of not only maintaining your vitality as you age, but like I said, replenishing and increasing. You meet plenty of people out there on YouTube, maybe people that you know personally in real life. They're 40, 50 years old and they have very healthy amounts of testosterone. And if you want to get deep with them, ask them how often they ejaculate. I bet you, bro, if they're 40, 50 years old, there might be really rare cases, but like if they're 40, 50 years old and they got really, really good testosterone, they look good and they're vital, it's probably because they don't have sex a whole lot or they don't ejaculate a whole lot. And it always goes to, if some people claim and say, well, I have sex with my wife multiple times a week and I'm 50, 60 years old and I'm super healthy. Well, just think about, look, and here's another thing, is sex isn't the enemy either. You know what I'm saying? You can still maintain a form of vitality. You know what I mean? It's just, there's something extra special. There's a special type of system, a mechanism that gets activated when a single man keeps a seed long term. That's all I'm trying to say. It's very few people who find this, because many men choose to find a wife in this world. And it's been like that for a long time. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a blessing in and of itself. But there's something that is, it's almost like a secret teaching, guys, because like not many people are even awake on this. I mean, you look at the semen retention community, they know the basic surface level. Most people who are on or who do a couple hours of research into it, they get it, but the deeper stuff of understanding that, like what happens after 90 days and how the seed gets broken down, the spirit, the essence, this is where the alchemical transmutation comes to play, is like after 90 days, the physical seed gets broken down. Well, there is an essence within that seed. It's not just proteins and blah, 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 mostly water, like all these worldly articles will say. They'll make it look like the seed is worthless and nothing. It's like, well, that's where human beings came from. There's like the Big Bang. The woman is the other half to make a human on this physical plane, but bro, it's exceedingly powerfully potent that God made. You know what I mean? This is life substance. So that essence gets saved when the seed is broken down. And you get the benefits of the physical materials that it takes to create the seed in the first place, which is like the quintessence of everything you've eaten from your mouth. You know what I mean? All the good food. So, it does matter to like, how you eat and how you take care of yourself, physical exercise, sunlight, all the basic mundane stuff that I shouldn't even have to talk about. It's just something that every human being internally is hardwired for that, guys, to understand what health and wellness is. But it's up to you. You know what I'm saying? You can look at it as like the enemy or your best friend. It's you create the enemy or you create the best friend when it comes to sexual energy. You know what I mean? Friends, we sometimes get in fights. Okay. I've had plenty of fights with friends, and I've even had fights with enemies who have became friends, right? So there's always gonna be arguments in families and stuff like that, but it's like we're still brothers type of thing. We're always gonna be brothers. We're always gonna look out for each other no matter what, because there's something hardwired within us. So it's like when you look at that perspective of your sexual energy, it's always gonna be there. It's always gonna be there. It's never gonna leave you. You know what I mean? So you might as well understand that you need to understand it's got to be your friend. Make it your friend. The illusion can come where it's like, well, it might not be an illusion, but it's like it can kind of become your enemy when you abuse it. But it's not your enemy. It's that you've mistreated it. You know what I'm saying? You could have a dog come home to you, like get a puppy out of the shelter, really nice puppy, but if you abuse the crap out of it 24/7, it could snap on you and bite your face off. You know what I mean? Was it the dog's fault? No, it's like you mistrained it. You mistreated it. It's like some people train their dogs and like those cockfights. You know what I'm saying? They do that on purpose and they bet on it. You know what I mean? Because they know. It's like you gotta treat it as your friend and let it do its thing within. That the mechanisms God created to happen supernaturally within. I call it supernaturally. Some people might look at it as a natural thing, but it's like it's another internal secretion. It's almost like a birth in a sort of way, you know what I'm saying? But I think the biggest thing to take away is treat it as your friend, not your enemy. Let that essence, that spirit happen. The spirit of the essence, I guess, the essence of that seed, is really where like the best part of the vitality will be realized, when you start to obtain that essence of the seed, and it takes time, guys, because if you ejaculate even once or twice a week or once a month, that's a big disruption. You know what I mean? So this is why I think, to end this video, we need to pray for self-control. You know what I mean? Pray to God for self-control. And self-control is actually a fruit of the Spirit. You look it up in the Bible, with the whole love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness. This is the fruits of the Spirit of God. This is how you know if you're out of line, if you're out of alignment, if you're not experiencing peace, love, and joy. And if you do claim to be a follower of God in Christ Jesus, and you're not experiencing love, joy, and peace in your life, or self-control, it's not God's fault. He's not doing nothing to you. It's not even really the enemy that's doing nothing to you. It's like I said, you create the enemy, so to speak, when it comes to your own choices. It boils down to choice. The enemy, we need to realize we need to stop glorifying the enemy. The church has a very bad habit of doing this, where we tend to talk about the enemy more than God. But the enemy really ain't much. It says in the Bible, resist the devil and he will flee. All you do is resist, practice self-control. It boils down to choice. They can't force you to do nothing. You know what I mean? Where love is, fear does not exist. You know what I'm saying? So you have Christ in your heart. There's nothing to worry about. It's just like you create the situation in your life, good or bad, guys. Sometimes we externalize it and say, oh, it's the devil's fault, or God's doing this to me, or something like that, man. It's like, it's you, bro. Like, it's all you. It's all you doing this to yourself. It's based on the choices that you make, man. It's like, oh, I got upset stomach. It's like, how'd you get an upset stomach? Oh, I ate a bunch of cake. Oh, yeah, but they brought it over, and it's like they put it in my face, though. You know what I'm saying? It's like we can't get mad at temptation, guys. Like, sometimes I scroll. I hate it. But, like, sometimes I scroll for, like, 5 minutes on YouTube. And there's thumbnails that I am not even subscribed to, which is really wicked. But I can't get mad at that, right? Because they do that. They set that up in your face. It's a setup, man, of these half-naked women. Like, YouTube is getting bad, where they're almost, it's like, it's bad, dude. Like, half-naked women, like, I actually clicked it. I was like, there's no way I'm subscribed. And come to find out, I'm not subscribed, because it says subscribe on this. I'm like, that's bad, man. Why are they trying to do this to me? You know what I'm saying? So I try not to scroll for that reason alone. There's the freaking intrusive ads on the internet, whatever website. Some websites I go to look up information, there's those side ads, man. It's like, man, these girls, like, what the heck is going on? Like, bro, like, it's weird. You know what I mean? I have no desire to look at images like that. You know what I mean? But they know that it triggers you. They know that it triggers a part of that, that fallen nature that wants to, or is familiar with that type of stuff, that wants to excrete the seed. It has no knowledge of the higher things. It has no knowledge of the spirit of how the seed gets broken down, and you keep the essence, that benefits your life and stuff like that. So, hope you guys have a good day, man. Little rant, little talk, little chat. If you guys got anything good out of this, like and subscribe. And we'll see you on another video, man. Hope you guys are doing good again, man. I'm doing all right. Peace.